Hello and welcome to Emma Reads Reddit. Today I'm reading from r/AskReddit, where user Clocked asked, "Clothing shop employees of Reddit, what's the craziest demand somebody made of you?" I had a woman screaming at me that I needed to look in the back for another size shirt she wanted. She couldn't comprehend that she was in a thrift store. Back when I worked in retail, I got tired of people insisting their size must be in the back. We know what's back there. I just started going to the back, chat with a co-worker for 5 minutes, then returning, informing them we didn't have it. She tried to return underwear and had a go at me when I told her that we don't for hygiene reasons, made me call my manager and everything. There was a hair in it. It was also 50 cents. When I worked at Baby Gap, we didn't have the correct size onesie that a woman wanted to buy. She then demanded that I go in the back and have them make her one. I had to explain to her that the clothes are sewn in China and shipped to us from a distribution centre. There are no seamstresses making baby onesies in the stockroom of your local Baby Gap. Take the security tags and wire off a $499 North Face winter jacket and allow him to take it outside to try it in the sun so he could see if he really liked it. I worked at a shoe store in high school. This one woman would come and buy her son a pair of sneakers from time to time. After a few months of the purchase, she would come in with the sneakers and try to exchange them for the next size up. Her son had clearly worn the shoes every single day since she purchased them originally. One time, they even had a hole in them. She basically thought she could buy the shoes once and keep exchanging them when they got too worn or didn't fit him anymore. Every single time we would tell her we could not just exchange worn shoes for a new pair. She would act like she had no idea that this practice was not allowed and threatened to call corporate. We would ask her, "If we tried to sell you these shoes, would you buy them?" And she said, "No, they've been used." One time, this lady came into the store and started asking me for different sizes in everything. No problem, we have all the sizes in the back. I'll go get them. She's been a bit excessive, but whatever, it means I get to spend time digging around in the storage room. Eventually she comes across a sweater she wants to try on, and it just so happens that I'm wearing the same sweater at work that day. She asks for a small and I apologise because we're sold out. This lady then looks at me and goes, "Well, what size is the one you're wearing? I'll just take that one if it's small." No bitch. Why would you want my dirty, sweaty, stretched out sweater anyways? I was honestly so baffled I just laughed awkwardly and walked away. I was working customer service at a JCPenney's outlet store when we had a woman walk in wanting to return some items. When I asked for her receipt, she said she'd lost it, so I thought to try scanning the barcode to see if I could bring up the purchase in our system, and that's when I noticed the tags had the store logo on the back. For Hudson's. A store that has been gone since the 1990s. When I confronted the lady about the fact these clothes were bought from another store and had to have been bought at least 8 years prior, she said with a straight face, "Well, I obviously can't return them to Hudson's now, can I?" I was nearly floored by that encounter. Changed their baby's diaper while she shopped. No. My wife used to work for Aerie back when it was more of a direct competitor to Victoria's Secrets. That is, they sold more lingerie than just underwear. And apparently it was a regular occurrence to have guys come in and ask the staff to model the products so they could see what it would look like on their girlfriend. Usually it was older dudes, think 40 plus, which, when you consider that most of the staff was 16 to 20 years old, makes it even creepier. Had a customer demand a refund because the salesperson told her if she wanted a refund she had to bring the receipt. Which would have been fine if she brought the product to return. Got mad because I refused to give her money for nothing. Got more mad when, after screaming at me 20 minutes, she asked me to lunch and I said no. Weird turn of events there. I used to work at an outdoor store and someone once came in looking for a fully waterproof vest. I asked why he would want such a thing and he told me, "I have a very expensive down vest and I need a waterproof vest to cover it so it doesn't get ruined." I tried repeatedly to explain that a rain jacket will do the same job without getting his head, neck, arms soaked. He was insistent that he could only wear a waterproof vest because what's the point in owning a $750 vest if you're covering it up with a jacket? We went back and forth for a good 5 minutes and he just couldn't grasp that the parts of him not covered by a vest would get wet. I used to work at Vans a while back as a floor supervisor. I had this older guy come in shopping for his daughter. It was her birthday. We helped him out, finding everything he wanted, and it ended up being a good sale. But when it came to checking this guy out, it was a different story. I was listing all the things he'd picked out. Shoes, jacket, hat. That's when he stopped me. "It's a cap," he said. "Okay. I don't want the cap unless you call it a cap." I just looked at him blankly, took the hat off the screen and put it behind me. Best part is he asked to see the manager. When I told him that was me, he said, "Oh, okay, let's agree to disagree. I want the cap." Not me, but my sister. A dude asked her to check what size underwear he was currently wearing. She suggested he duck into the dressing room and look for himself. His response? "Damn it. Ugh." I was working at Nordstrom in a big West Coast city in the accessories department. It was towards closing time and a woman and a man walked into my department. I overheard her telling him to go look at the men's clothing while she looked at scarves. He agreed and walked away. She came up to me and pulled out a case of sunglasses and said, "Hi sweetie, I need your help. My boyfriend in Texas bought me these sunglasses and I need to return them." And I asked her for a receipt or a sticker to return the items. She said she never got one. I told her I would try to look it up by the credit card number and asked if the gentleman could come back to the department. And she yelled, "No, that man is my husband. My boyfriend in Texas bought me these. My husband can't find out." So I calmly asked her to call her boyfriend, who never picked up the phone. She threatened me some more until I hit the LP button on the keyboard and got it handled by the store manager. Not necessarily a demand, but an older woman once offered me money if I would go to her house and tidy her wardrobe for her. Oh god, I had this happen to me a lot working in a small lingerie store back in my hometown. I was sort of a personal shopper but untrained and had no clue how to react when I'd bring women other sizes and they'd open the fitting room curtains just fully topless and ask me questions about their cup size. Once even had a guy come in asking to try on some of the boxers we carried, and I looked up from the till to see him standing with the curtain open, completely naked with an erection, smiling back at me. Fun times! I worked at American Eagle for, thankfully, a brief period of time, and our managers were trying to combat failing store metrics and told us we were to start knocking on the dressing room doors to suggest other pieces of clothing that might go best with what they'd already chosen to try on. I guess it was a moderately okay idea in theory, but in practice I was being told off for not knocking on a woman's door and recommending the new thigh-hugging jean skirt that totally went with the tankini she just tried on. No thanks. A mother wanted me to take off her child's socks and put sandals on for her to try, pretending not to hear her and walked away. Great customer service there. I used to work in an infamously trashy sports store in the UK. One day some guy came in with his wife and was trying on some jumpers. He was wearing a t-shirt which I assume used to be white but now rivaled a cubist painting of food and sweat stains. Gross. After trying on a jumper for some time, he removed it and noticed that his top now had a thin layer of red fluff from the inside of the jumper stuck to his t-shirt. Not a huge problem for any normal person because you can just wipe it off or deal with it. This gentleman, however, decided to throw one of the biggest tantrums I've ever seen. He claimed that we had ruined his top and that, as he was on his way out to dinner after shopping, we would have to supply him with a free replacement and wash his shirt for him. My manager eventually had enough and said, "We don't have a washing machine here, mate, and even if we did, wouldn't get the food stains out. Now get out." I had a customer come into the shoe department when I managed retail. She literally pointed at one of my salespeople who was in the middle of a transaction with another customer and demanded that he help her right now, and was indignant when he said, "It will be a minute, I have to finish helping the customers I already have." We have an acronym for these types of people. EDINA. Every day I need attention. I worked at a clothing store near the beach for a summer, Black Friday levels of busy almost every day. I'm on the register with a lady. I ring her up, fold up all her clothes and bag them up for her. She hands me her card, I swipe it, do the whole verification sign thing and hand it back to her. Tell her, "Have a good day," and that's that. So I thought. She came back furious and insisting that I took her card. I assured her that I gave it back once the transaction was done, but she wasn't hearing that shit. She handed me her bags and I unfolded and shook the hell out of everything she had bought. No card. She isn't being exactly quiet with her accusations and people are now looking at me trying to convince this lady that I have no interest in taking her card. I start to get a little embarrassed and she puts the cherry on top with demanding I check the trash for her missing card. So now I'm digging through trash in a store full of people while this lady says to anyone that'll listen, "He never gave me my card back." I'm done with the trash. I grit my teeth and explain again that I don't have the card. She says nothing and gives me a death stare while I help other customers. The manager walks up and asks what's going on, so I explain it to him with her still giving me the evil eye. A younger person, I think was her daughter, asked her to double check her wallet. At first she refused to, but gave in. Of course, there's the damn card. No apology, no thank you, no nothing. She didn't seem the least bit ashamed. It was more like a, "You better not have taken my card" type arrogance to her. With her head held high, she walked out of my store. I went in the back to grab a slice of pizza. Didn't go near the register for the remainder of my shift. We had a maternity department that was in a corner by the girls' department. The girls' department sold clothes to like 5 to 12. A lady told me she can't believe that we put pregnant mannequins in the maternity section while it was visible from the girls' department. Apparently, if the girls that shop in that department were to see a pregnant mannequin, it would inspire them to get pregnant. Fucking loon. She freaked out and scolded several employees, acting like this was the worst crime humanity has ever committed. I worked at the Old Navy outlet for a while. There were no public restrooms in store. Public restrooms were down a few stores from us. We usually let them use ours if they had little kids that really needed to go, but otherwise told them that no, they had to go use the other ones. The amount of adults that got angry over having to walk to public restrooms was ridiculous. Just like any mall, employee restrooms were in the back where stock was kept and they couldn't get across their thick skulls. The company didn't want random people back there. The other reason is employee restrooms usually aren't handicap accessible, if I remember right, so that's one reason that they weren't allowed to use it. Worked for a general store kind of place, sold everything from spices to hydraulic fluid to Wranglers and Carhartt clothes and all around Western wear. I was on the back wall talking to a clothing lady when this late 30s female customer comes up to us and asks, "Do you have any hats? They go on your head and protect you from the sun and give you shade. You know, hats. Do you got hats?" We both stood there speechless. Gina was the first to talk. "You want to know if we have hats?" Customer: "Yes." Gina looked at me and told the lady to follow her and took her to the hats. I've heard some stupid shit for my time in retail, but having a fucking hat described to me will always be stuck in my head. Guy came in 10 minutes before we closed. We made an announcement 5-2 that we were closing, and 10 after we shut off the lights and locked the door. We can't do any closing duties until the customers have been rung up. This guy is still just going aisle to aisle looking at clothing. One of us asked if he needed help and that we had to send the register information out soon. He said it was fine, kept shopping. 30 minutes after we closed, our manager finally went up to him and told him we needed him to go to the register. The guy got angry and told my manager to go away, he was shopping. Then we asked again, he threw a football as hard as he could at the manager. Not a direct demand, but I worked at an outlet mall for about a year. Let me just start off by saying there are bathrooms everywhere. A customer exited a changing room and handed my co-worker a $5 bill. She tried to ask why, but the woman didn't speak English. The store is in a very popular tourist destination, and pointed to the change room and took off. My co-worker and I walked over to the change room, and lo and behold, there is a turd just chilling in the corner on a piece of paper. 2 questions. 1. Why didn't she use the bathroom? Even if she didn't want to use our toilets, I feel like if you're going to poop on the floor, do it there. 2. Why didn't she roll it up in paper and dispose of it herself? We find items like that in changing rooms monthly, diapers, tampons, you name it. But this one takes the cake. Mainly because she tipped us a £5. This £400+ lady used to call our store every time she was on her way to shop to reserve an electric scooter. Not only reserve one though, she would request that it be brought out to her car because she can't walk inside to actually get in it. Well, one day all the scooters were being used and we told her there was not one to reserve at the moment. When she arrived at the store, she called and called and called from her car in the parking lot for about an hour and would scream at whoever answered the phone about how stupid we were for not having enough complimentary first come first serve electric scooters. I miss her, lol. This wasn't me, but an acquaintance told me the story when we were bitching about our various customers. She worked at a baby clothing and toy store, not a chain, and I don't remember the name. The store was situated in one of the town's storefronts along the main street, and across the street was a beauty parlour. Well, one fine day a middle-aged woman brought her 4-month into the store, dropped her off at the counter in front of a poor befuddled 16-year-old cashier and walked across to the parlour. Just walked in, plopped the baby carrier and diaper bag on the counter and left. They ended up calling the police. More of a demand-based anecdote, but whatever. Woman asked me to find her some size 6, white, high-waisted, skinny jeans. I searched high and low, front and back, yet to no avail. I explained the situation to the woman, who instantly turns an alarming shade of red and becomes absolutely livid. Calling my manager for backup, suggests a bunch of similar jeans, but none are satisfactory apparently. In the midst of this jean-based scavenger hunt, the woman loses it completely and with forehead vein pulsing, screams loud enough for the whole mall to hear, "I need them now! I have IBS!" In the stunned silence that followed, the only thing I could think to answer was, "Are you sure you wanted those in white?" I was fired a few weeks later. Literally the other day, a woman comes up to me with a plain black halter top and asks, "Do you have this shirt but like in pants?" What is that even supposed to mean? I worked at a hunting store for a while in my early 20s. I was skinny, flat-chested type before having kids, and an older couple asked me to try on a bunch of clothes for them because I was the same build and height of the person they were shopping for. Only after I spent a lot of time modelling camo did they tell me that it was for a 14-year-old boy. Worked at Free People. A mother and daughter came shopping for daughter's communion dress. The daughter tried a dress on that was particularly short. The mother disapproved and told me to tell her she looks like a slut. I used to work in retail and had a guy come in who didn't make a request per se. He just wanted a captive audience for his lizard people Nephilim end time spiel, and he thought that me being an employee would make me politely listen to him. After about 10 minutes I decided that if my name tag was what was holding me hostage, I'd just get rid of it. So I did. Took it off, told him, "Excuse me for a moment," and walked out of the store and went home. Luckily there was someone who could cover. I waved to him on the way out. Did ye? A morbidly obese woman came into the shop to try on shoes. She was wearing flats at the time and her feet were the size of footballs. I'm not kidding, picture a foot that's shaped like a blimp. I asked her what I could help her with and she said, "Can I see those strappy sandals in size 8? Okay. I get her the shoes and she sits down for me to put them on. Her feet. It was a fancy shop. And I'm just kneeling here holding the shoe in one hand and her foot in the other with a blank look on my face. What am I supposed to do? It's like putting a HDMI cable into a micro USB port. It's like trying to put a glove on your head. It's not going to work." I loosened all the straps as much as possible and just sort of stuck her toes in and then stopped. She acted as if this was a completely normal interaction. She bought the shoes. I don't understand why you didn't offer to measure her feet and make sure she had the correct size. Great customer service. This bitch, the name is Chanel, came in and wanted me to change the size tags on her items because she only wears size 0 but will only fit into a larger size. I couldn't even. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss anything from Emma Reads Reddit.